This is the Coming Home podcast with John Allen. And now we're live. Hello, Joachim. This is about the most relaxed podcast I've ever had.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
We'll see about that. No, hopefully we won't see too much about that. For my listeners, Joachim answers this FaceTime podcast episode shirtless and in bed.
Yeah, I'm a little bit hungover, you could say.
Are you a little bit hungover? Are you out there living the artist life?
No, not really. I was drinking alone yesterday.
Oh God, that's sad. That's sad. Do you need a hug? Put a shirt on and I'll give you. Put a shirt on. I'll be right there and I'll give you a hug.
Thank you. No, I was having I was going to make some steak.
Yeah.
And yeah, it turned out to be an amazing dinner by myself.
Oh man!
And it was an amazing wine next to it. So
red or white?
No, it was red.
It was red. Okay.
Yeah, I wrote down what it was called because it was so good.
Oh man! Well, I tell you, this is like I said, this is probably the most relaxed I've started a podcast ever, where my guest is still laying in bed. I love it.
Yeah, that's first time for everything, I guess.
First time for everything. So, how you been doing, man? You've been pretty active out there on the stand-up scene.
Yes, there's been a lot going on actually lately, and
tell me about it.
Yeah, and the last two performances, I would say I finally some way have found my true style, you can say.
Okay.
So I'm feeling it's going somewhere now. You know, we've been practicing doing sets and everything, but now people are laughing hard.
I like it. I tell you, it's I see you'll make a post. You know, if we go back a couple months, you would post, I was out on stage on the mic at this place and had a great time. And then that would be it. But now when you're posting, you're getting more, I can hear it in the way that you're wording how it was. I can see that you're enjoying yourself a lot more. So I've seen this development of yours over time, just over the last 3 months. It seems like you're really, really getting into it, really enjoying yourself, and definitely getting out there with more frequency now than you were before.
Yeah, but that's true because as we spoke about before, if you have a set going not too well, if you have too many of them, you will start doubting yourself, and that's not a good feeling. But now it's like I'm seeing the light in the tunnel.
I love it.
Know?
I love it.
So now you're absolutely right. It's fun again.
But that moment, those moments of doubt, that long period where you're not really getting the response, isn't that normal? Because, you know, some people are quite talented writers and they'll write a new 5 minutes and they'll go out and it kills. It's just awesome right away. But most people have to go through a process where they do a lot of editing. They make a lot of changes just to get 5 minutes. You might have to get on the mic 5 or 6 times just to make a 5-minute bit solid. So isn't that to be expected, that there's these moments of doubt, these moments of the low response?
Yes. But also what is great about working that way is that eventually now there's no problem having 5 to 7 minutes that just floats, because that before as you're saying you can put together stuff, but it's not always what can you say. It's not always that easy to get that flow going,
It's not easy.
Yeah, and then it's just a bunch of jokes, but now I feel, you feel the connection with the audience, because that's the thing that most people forget in the beginning. I think they just get up on stage and they talk, and they don't really care about the audience.
Yeah.
But now it's a big part of it to make eye contact. If someone does something, say something about that. Include the
Yes.
audience in the jokes.
Yeah,
and
it's about
laugh with them.
it's about being spontaneous, and it's about feeding off of the audience. It's a communication thing. It's not a monologue. A lot of people think stand up is a monologue, but it's not. It's a discussion with the audience.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And then if you can get them, 2 nights ago, it was this open scene. It's called
like an open mic.
It was at Henriken before.
Yeah,
they open up again, and I wasn't supposed to do any stand up that night, but I put my name in the hat. and yeah, I could say not to what can you say, piss on everyone on anyone else. But they said it themselves. But it was a kind of a dull night, you know. It wasn't a lot of laughs. The audience was it was difficult.
Yeah.
But I did really well. I got a lot of laughs.
Man, that's a good feeling.
Yeah, and so I just wanted to. My point was that because I saw someone in the audience laughing a lot of something, and then I just drew my attention to them and just fed off the laughter, and then it just spread around. So it was
laughter is contagious. Yeah. Laughter is contagious.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was an important lesson.
So Henriken is open now. What's going on there? Because I had heard it was shut down. I had no idea it was open again.
It is. It's just the stand-up nights are going on elsewhere.
I see. So it was the stand-up portion of Henriken that went away.
Yes. No. Henriken is closed, I think.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah.
So it's just the people that had stand-up. They just take it somewhere else. And it was a nice place and everything, but it was I know it's not allowed to say, but it was a difficult audience.
Well, you'll hear people who will say there's no such thing as a bad audience. It's just a bad performance. I don't believe that.
No, I don't believe that either.
I remember probably the worst I ever did, and I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was hilarious that I did so bad. It was they called it Culture Night, Kulturkväll, here in Drammen a couple of years ago, or last summer, I think it was, and they open up all of the clubs, they open up all of the venues, and people can just go in. It was free, and they can be entertained. So we're a group of people, and we're doing stand up in this place in Drammen, and there is such a thing as a stand up crowd. The people are there for stand up. Okay, this was not a stand-up crowd. This was just random people who were walking the streets of, the center of Drammen, going into these different venues just to see what was happening. And if you don't have the mindset, the stand-up comedy mindset, if you're not prepared for stand-up comedy, and then all of a sudden you have a comic who's standing there talking about maybe racial issues or sexual innuendo and things like that, it doesn't go over very well.
Because they're not prepared.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe, maybe they just got done eating ice cream with their 10-year-old son, for example. And then all of a sudden you're up there talking about, whatever. So I do believe that there is such a thing as a bad crowd. In other words, a crowd that is not in that stand-up frame of mind.
Yeah. And I remember we actually talked about this a little bit before, when we were setting up this appointment about small crowds versus big crowds. Remember?
Yes.
Yeah, because people would be terrified if the crowd is large. But as we said, it's different with stand-up. It's actually easier if there's a lot of people.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think so. As a musician, I can get up there and sing and perform with a band if there's nobody in the house. If there's like 2 or 3 people, I can do that because then you're feeding off of the other people in the band, but doing stand up in front of 2 or 3 or 5 people, and I've done that. That's just not. I don't know. I kind of turn that into just a practice session. I'm not trying to make those people laugh. I'm just trying to deliver my material and see how I feel about it. You cannot judge material when there's only 4 or 5 people in the audience. You just can't do it. Give me that big crowd anytime. I'm actually less nervous in front of a big crowd than I am in front of those 4 or 5 people.
Yeah. No, I feel the same. I feel the same.
No, go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was just thinking because you asked a bit about since I've been active now. First, It was the Deluxe Festival. That was fun. It was a large crowd there, and
well, how many comics were there that night?
You mean on all the stages?
Yeah, all together.
In one night, it must have been 20 or something.
So those people, that was a crowd that was there for stand-up. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, awesome.
And then I went to Lillestrøm.
Yeah.
And it was a big crowd there as well.
Yeah.
I've been saying it was more than 100 people, but I've been corrected now. It was 97.
Oh, you know what? Whoever told you it was 97 is just they're a dream. That's what I call a dream killer. That is a dream killer right there.
but as I said to the guy that said that, I just said, but we were also the comedians, the staff. So it was more than 100 people.
Well, that's a dream killer right there. No, so that is that's a good sized crowd. Yeah, that's a good sized crowd, up around 100 people. You can definitely get the right kind of feedback from that.
Oh yeah, and there was mostly women as well, and they
really.
They liked the what can you say, the dirty stuff.
They do. So they do.
So that was a good confirmation that because I have a new opener now, which works really well.
Okay.
And it's really, So I tried that for the first time.
Yeah.
Lillestrøm, and it worked. So now I'm using that one.
Well, I tell you, there's something funny though about the women, and when they respond to the dirty, the sexual innuendo. I found out because I have a bit where I kind of mix the racial issues, things about racism, and I mix that with some sexual things, and it is always the women who respond, and it's a funny response. It's a mixture of, oh my gosh, this guy knows me, and that's like underneath the laughter that they have, and it's just an awesome response. But it's the women who respond to those kind of things more than the men. I wonder why that is.
No, they because they're so what can you say? They're trying to. What's the word in English? I'm thinking in Norwegian. De er så ordentlig.
Down to earth. They're more straightforward. Yeah.
So they just want to get it out their system,
I'd say probably every time I've performed, it has been at least 50% men, 50% women, but maybe a majority women every time, actually. Now that I think about it, I haven't really thought about that, but quite a few women are showing up to stand up.
Yeah.
And that's different. It hasn't always been that way from what I understand here in Norway.
No, but because now I just started to think also about one time at Steinars.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was doing, it wasn't going very well, but this lady was just, laughing. So that makes you just do your thing,
So many times I've had to improvise on my opener. In other words, I talking about feeding off of the crowd. I guess I'm a bit of a sight when I come on stage. I'm this black guy. It's already been announced that I'm an American, and I'm big, this big muscular guy. And I come up on stage, and very often the women will comment, ooh, or something like that. And that right there, I just have to go for it. And it will totally change my opener, which will then totally change the whole rhythm of my entire set. And I love it. I love when those kind of things happen, and all of a sudden I'm in no man's land and I have room to maneuver. Sometimes it doesn't go well, but more often than not, it's at least enjoyable. And again, I can enjoy myself even if I'm bombing. I see humor in that. I laugh at myself if I'm bombing. But that ability or that opportunity rather to improvise and kind of start floating around in no man's land, I love it. That's a rush right there. That is a big time adrenaline rush, and I love it.
Yeah, but that's what makes us more professional as well, because the fact that even though we are bombing, which I mean,
it happens. It happens.
Yeah, but instead of just walking off, you just do your 10 minutes regardless. I don't care.
Yeah,
you're not laughing. Well, yeah.
Well,
I'm still do it.
and if you go into it with the mindset that you're going to learn something from this set, whether it goes good or whether it goes bad. We're still fairly new at this, so every time we get up there is definitely an opportunity to learn something, and I enjoy that process. But again, there's this. It's kind of, you can get disheartened when you're trying new material and it's not working, because you have to try it. You don't know. You might feel like it's going to work, but you don't know if it's going to work until you know.
Yeah, I've done that. Not that many weeks ago, I was, what do you call it, when you are not one of the comedians, but you are the comedian, but you are a host. Yeah, when you're the host.
The host, yeah, the MC.
I was the MC, so I decided to try some stuff in between.
Yeah.
And it worked the first time, But then I didn't get any laughter. So,
Well, that's when you stop trying to be funny and you just introduce the next comic.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I did. And then when I got up again, I tried something new one more time, and they didn't laugh either. So that was not good. But I managed to say something funny the third time. But I was funny before, and it was just two of the new bits was not working. But I thought they were funny, so I didn't understand why.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you record all of your sets?
No, I know I should do, but I film them from time to time.
Okay.
Not always, but I should record everything.
I have every one of my sets recorded, and that's actually part of my act. I explain why I have to record, and I blame it on my wife being a crazy psalmist woman with a knife. But I record every set, and it's very interesting to go back. And actually, I've never listened to an entire set. I will go back and listen to certain areas of a set that I was wondering about as I was doing it. And sometimes when I feel like something went terrible, maybe I stumbled with my delivery and I just didn't feel right as I was doing that bit. When I go back and listen to it sometimes, the crowd is laughing pretty hard. But I was so much in my head and not in the moment that I didn't realize the crowd was responding well. I was just frustrated at the moment because I messed up the delivery.
Yes.
But they don't know I'm messing up the delivery. Only I know how I wrote it and how I wanted to say it. So it's a very, it's something that I've learned a lot from, just having that recording and being able to go back and analyze the parts that I thought did not go well. I like it. It's, for me, it's important. I have to be able to do that. Otherwise, if I didn't do that, I would probably end up just beating myself up over and over. Why didn't I say it right? Why didn't I do this right? Whereas if I can go back and listen to it, and then I might realize that I did say it right, or I said it well enough to where I actually got a good response.
Yeah. But it's interesting because how important just, switching some words, saying it.
Yes. Tone of voice.
Yes.
Yeah.
It does everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it can just, if you mess that up, then, you can get laughter or you could get nothing.
Yeah.
based on.
I was listening to Bill Burr the other day, who that man just cracks me up. I don't know if you're into Bill Burr.
Yeah, no, I like him too.
And he was talking about, because now in the States, because of Corona, they're trying to find ways to do stand-up comedy, because a lot of the venues are closed, or you can only get like 20% capacity in these different venues, and that's not a good enough, nobody's going to make any money. People are going to lose money. So what they're doing is they're going to parking lots, and cars can park, and then they have a good PA system so that everyone can hear.
We actually did that in Norway as well. Not me, but I've seen it.
Okay, yeah.
And so they probably stole it from America.
And he was, and here's what was very interesting is that he was talking about, he was going on and on with some kind of misogynistic thing against women, against feminists and whatnot. And there was a car with 4 or 5 ladies in it, and one of them stuck their head out the window and cussed him out and said, "And we're leaving. We're leaving," this woman says. Well, it was in the evening, and apparently they had their headlights on for a long time, so it ran the battery out of their car, and they couldn't leave. So Bill got like 10, 15 minutes of just being able to tear into these women for 10 or 15 minutes, just going, and you know how Bill can get, and just going off on these women. And the rest of the crowd was going crazy and loving it. But these women kind of opened the door and gave him that opportunity to improvise and just go after them.
Okay, he did that with an audience.
Philadelphia.
Yeah, Philadelphia.
Have you heard that? Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's great.
I love it. Now that's someone who just, you have to have confidence. You got to have guts to get up and do stand up. You have to, whether you're good or bad at it. But to be in front of a crowd, I don't know, however many thousands, whether this is an outdoor arrangement, so there's maybe 10,000 people in this stadium. And to have the guts to stand up there, what was it, like a 15-minute set where all he was doing was trashing the city of Philadelphia, cussing them out, going on and on and on about, because they had booed, everyone else had gotten booed. It was just a bad audience. They didn't like anybody that was up there. They were booing constantly. And Bill Burr came out, and the first words out of his mouth was, "You're not going to boo me off of the stage. I got 10 minutes to do, and I'm going to do these 10 minutes no matter what." I love it.
Yeah. I actually started to write down and practicing things to say, if people, are trying to say something, because I want to be that guy that no one wants to, try. Because if someone heckles me, I'm usually good with the heckles.
Yeah.
But I want to be better, I want to have something really funny and clever to say.
Yeah, I think the worst thing a comic can do is ignore the hecklers, because that's just telling the audience that you're too afraid to engage them. And that's not a good thing. You've got to be fearless when you get up there. You've got to engage them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if I have something prepared, then it's easier, Then you almost want someone to say something. Yeah. That's a better feeling than being afraid.
No, it's a good thing to be trigger happy up there. You hope somebody will try to get in your way so that you can have that confrontation. I like it.
Yeah, the first time I was hosting, I only done it twice, so I'm not saying I've done it a lot. But the first time, that was maybe the craziest night of heckling I've ever witnessed.
Really?
Yeah. But it was fun. I mean, we handled it, very well. So
I don't get heckled that often, but when I do, I am always prepared for it, because I've been in Norway almost 20 years, so I know what makes Norwegians uncomfortable.
And that's where you should.
And that's where I go.
Yeah,
that's where I go. If they want to mess with me, I welcome it, and I just pull out my little arsenal of, and this is me being married to my crazy Norwegian wife for 20 years, messing with her, picking on her all the time. So I know the things that get Norwegians. So No, you make me, you above any other comic here in Norway that I know, you are making me miss being on the mic the most.
Oh, that's a
because
compliment.
well, yeah, and it's because I can see your progression. I can see that you're enjoying yourself like you never have before. I think back to when the first time I met you, and you were good. You've always been good, but where I see the changes in your confidence, and that's just from the comments that you've made as we've spoken, and the comments I see on your social media. It's been you're on a journey, and you're climbing higher, and it's a pretty cool thing to see. So thank you for that inspiration.
No, thank you. That's I mean, we should always
Look at you getting all tongue-tied. You see, I know Norwegians. You guys get uncomfortable when you get a compliment.
No, I'm trying not to be, but that was a great compliment. So just,
Hey, everybody, Joachim is red from his forehead all the way down to his nipples. Remember, he's shirtless. So.
That's true.
No, but I tell you, I think Norwegian comics would benefit the entire comedian environment in Norway if they were better at being a united front, sharing compliments, doing things like this and bringing each other on podcasts and giving each other a shout out. It seems like it's very much an individual thing rather than a team thing.
Yeah.
If I can criticize, I don't want to criticize too much, but if I have one thing to criticize, it is that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but I totally agree, and that's why I say that to people all the time as well. That we need to help each other out, and it's a lonely business and it's a tough business. So.
It's a tough business. It's not, back in the United States, I think there's more of an opportunity for a stand-up to make some money and make a living off of it. Even if you're just a mediocre stand-up, just the sheer volume of venues will make it possible for you to, if not make money, you can at least get on the mic a little bit more often than you can in Norway. There's also a wider variety of crowds in the States. You can go on a club where it's all black people in the States. Oh yeah, hold on once. They're leaving. My wife and kids are going out to, I don't know, what are you guys going to do? Hunt for bears or something? They're going out to spend the night up in the mountains somewhere.
Nice.
You guys leaving? All right, Snoop. Yeah. Bye. Don't break any laws. Yeah, leave that open, please. Or no, shut it, please. I don't want to get an echo. Thank you. Bye.
So they're going to the mountains?
Yeah, they're going camping. They got these, oh, wow, what do you call that in English? A hammock. Yeah. So they're going to sleep in hammocks, and, they went out and they bought new sleeping bags because it's getting chillier outside and stuff. So they're going to go out and do that. I'm stuck here with you, but they're going to go out in the.
I saved you.
Thank you, thank you, Joachim.
Yeah. No, but it's actually pretty cold outside now. So.
Yeah, winter time is right around the corner. This is Norway after all.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, and I just want to throw this in because I've been meaning to ask you this for quite some time, and the last time I had you on, I didn't really get into it. I didn't get into it when I had you on the phone the other day. So let me ask you this. How do you feel about controversial material? For example, I'm thinking about Bill Burr, who, and I'm also thinking about what Joe Rogan is going through right now. People are accusing people like Bill Burr, Joe Rogan of being misogynist, women haters, racist, and things like that. And it's almost as if people just hear the joke. They probably weren't even there. They're hearing a recording, or they're hearing someone else tell a joke that you said, and then they're taking their interpretation of it and they're labeling the comic as a racist or as some sort of right-wing extremist, whereas the comic is just see, we or at least I anyway, I joke about the things that are difficult in society.
Yeah.
If you were to listen to my jokes that I tell about my wife, you would probably think my wife is this oppressed, you know, yeah, you know, but it's a joke and there's a meaning behind it. You know, there's a message within the joke. Are you afraid? Have you ever been afraid of saying anything on stage?
Yeah, I have been afraid, but this is why the 2 last times, and I found my thing, I think, is because I'm not afraid anymore.
Yeah.
And I say a lot of controversial stuff, but as you say, as long as people know that I'm a good guy. I want equal rights for everyone. And because of that, I'll joke about anything.
Well, let me ask you this. Now, I know you're a good guy, and your friends, family, and your fellow comics know you're a good guy. But for that new audience member who's never seen you before, do you worry about what they will think? Because they don't know automatically that you're a good guy. Do you worry about that?
To come across in my set so they understand what kind of guy I am. Because before, I think that they don't know if I'm good or bad. And so they won't laugh. But now they know that I'm a good guy, so they can laugh.
So do you have can it be said then that you have a couple of goals within your comedy? And one, of course, is to make people laugh, but another is to express yourself in such a way that people get a look at what type of a person you are? Is that a goal, or?
My goal is to make people laugh, and that's my goal.
That's pretty much it.
My opening line, and this is, you know, the opening line that I'm using now. It's a rape joke.
And
I don't say anything about who I am, my name, or nothing. I just
go right into that,
right into that, and then it just goes from there.
See, I don't believe that comedy can be funny, or, well, how do I say this? You can lose a lot of the funniness in stand-up comedy if you avoid the difficult subjects. And it seems almost as if there is a portion of the potential audience out there that doesn't want us to talk about those difficult subjects. You know, they hear Bill Burr, you know, talking about women or talking about, you know, lesbians or talking about feminists, and they assume that he is anti all of those things.
Yeah, but that's where they go wrong, right? Because
it's the cancel culture.
But if someone tells a joke about, you know, children dying or something, I might not think that's funny, but then what I do is I look at, you know, how the joke is built up, and if I see this is constructed as a joke, and someone worked on this, then I can appreciate that joke, even though I don't think it's funny, you know?
Right.
So that's, but if someone just says something to be mean, you know, that's something else.
Yeah.
But if you say that, you know, okay, so I try to do something about, let's say I'll go on stage, I do something about race or something. It doesn't work. It's not funny. But still, okay, I tried. I have to go back to the drawing table, you know?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that, you know, that's okay, I did that, now I'm a racist, you know? That's not how it works.
No, for me, I truly enjoy seeing a Norwegian comic who tries to tackle racial issues in their act. Not a lot of Norwegians do that.
No, but we don't have the guts, you know?
Exactly.
That's the thing.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's why such a large part of my act goes on specifically on that subject, because I know how uncomfortable it makes people.
And you know, we want to have equality.
Yeah.
You know, we want this stuff to go away, but so we have to talk about it.
Yeah.
Especially especially white people.
But
we have to be educated, though. That's the thing.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, you can't get up there and try to be funny about race if you've never thought about race, because then you're just going to come off as either as a racist or as at least as an idiot. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've got to do some research. You have to know the subject matter. You can't just get up there and try to be funny.
No, that's No, that's insane.
I have to say, one of the best examples of a Norwegian talking about race or even approaching race. He wasn't necessarily talking about race, but Jon Gjerde said this. I've talked about this before on other episodes. I don't remember if I've told you this or not. Jon Gjerde was the MC, and we were 5 or 6 comedians there. So Jon Gjerde was doing his thing after a comic had finished, and he was telling some story. I can't remember the exact story, but something about like he was moving from one house to another, and he had gathered up all of his things, and he had a bunch of big black trash bags full of garbage laying around his house. And then he says, yeah, and speaking of big black things full of garbage, here's John Allen. That was his introduction. And I almost fell out of my chair. I almost had to crawl up to the microphone. That was probably the funniest introduction I've ever heard. Forget about it being about me. That's probably just period the funniest introduction I ever heard. It was so funny.
And it's not mean. It's just he saw an opportunity.
He saw an opportunity and he took it. And it was funny as heck. And I wish there was more freedom in front of the mic, because there are issues in Norway. And I don't know, people can be funny about whatever they want. I'm not going to try and tell people what they should do in their act, but I guess I miss hearing more controversy from Norwegian comics.
Yeah,
a lot of them have a tendency to be too safe.
But I'll run by some jokes. I can obviously talk to you. So if I write some jokes, I'll run them by you first.
Oh, if you ever wanted to do that, sure, absolutely. But see, I think you have the confidence and you have the brain power to work your way through those things and make them funny. You can get up there and be tasteless, and that's not funny.
No, that's not funny.
But being on the edge, being controversial and funny, that's an art. And I think you can pull that off. Absolutely. And I think a lot of other Norwegian comics could as well, but they don't. They stay away from that type of material for some reason. You got to be fearless. They have to be fearless up there.
But, you call me brother, right?
I do. Absolutely.
Yeah. But can I call you that back, or how does that work?
Absolutely.
I have to be educated. Yeah?
Well, but yes, you have to be educated, but don't overthink it either.
No, that's
of course you can call me brother back. I've had people say things like, what should I call you, John? Can I call you a black guy? And then they kind of jump back like they're waiting for me to swing on them. It's like, yeah, I'm a black guy. Yeah. There's nothing bad about that word black. I don't know. Little things like that. You can't overthink it. I don't believe in white guilt. Every once in a while, especially with the things that are going on in America at the time, I'll have people come up to me and say, "Oh, John, I'm so sorry about what's going on. I'm almost ashamed. I'm ashamed to be white." And I'm like, why would you say that? Yeah. Why would you feel guilty for the actions of a few ignorant racist people? You're not racist, are you? And if you're not, then what do you have to feel sorry about? I wish that whole thing about white guilt would just go away. You shouldn't feel guilty about these things unless you are taking part in it. So I think sometimes white people, both in America and here in Norway, maybe especially here in Norway, they have a tendency to overthink the racial issue to where it makes them uncomfortable to even come close to appearing racist or bigoted in some way. Just chill, just relax and chill, and there's really nothing to fear.
No, but that's so true. That's that's the problem. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a part of the problem. It's more right to say, because we want equality, we want the equal rights and everything. So we can't go around and say that we're this and that, or we have to talk about how to make it better, I guess. I mean,
but I think a lot of people's fear of the subject, a lot of people's uncomfortableness and lack of knowledge on that subject means that there's not enough talk about it here in Norway.
No, but it's not when people are not talking about it.
Yeah, I had a great podcast episode with Kim Fairchild. Do you know who she is? Yeah. She's a black lady. She's part American, part Jamaican. Lived in Norway since she was a little kid. She's a singer and an actress.
All right.
A black lady. And she gave me a challenge because we were talking about this very subject, about how racial issues or the big, meaningful, controversial issues are not spoken about here in Norway.
Yeah.
And she says, well, you have a platform, John. Why don't you talk about it? And I was like,
Yeah.
And we went into this discussion about when was the last time you saw a black guy on TV2 or NRK, on the national news, being in a debate about any meaningful issue? It doesn't happen. Where are they?
Yeah.
Does that mean that there are no black guys who can speak up about the things that we face, or does that mean that they're there, but the I don't know, the mainstream media, if you will, or the Norwegian society is not ready to hear those black guys who are there to talk about those issues? I think it's the latter. I think it's that there are plenty of us out there who can speak about these things, but society here is not ready to hear us. It's very interesting.
Yeah. But you were at Comin, Norge?
Yes, I was. Yeah. And I should continue doing that. I think I've kind of gotten away from, you see, and that whole thing was based on a solo podcast episode that I did where I was talking about those issues. And
true.
Yeah,
I remember that was a great podcast episode as well. And
thank you.
I remember I saw it on television.
Thank you. Yeah, it went viral in a sense over here in Norway. And like I said, Kim Fairchild, she told me I should continue with that kind of thing and get out there and keep talking about it, because that is a whole demographic that is not being represented in the national discussion here in Norway. Again, and I don't think it's racist. It's not racist that there's no black guys that are speaking out and being heard. I just think that it's the Norwegian society has this tendency to avoid the difficult subjects.
Yeah, but that's true, because we have to kind of research stuff and look it up. It's not just presented, so that's what makes it difficult as well, because fake news and whatnot. You know? So I
don't think there's that much fake news out there that people think. I think a lot of people just when they hear something they disagree with, they'll call it fake news.
Exactly, and then. You often see, and you just steer away from, what you see is not relevant anyway.
Yeah.
But, I mean, because you were a police officer as well.
Yes.
In the States.
Yes, yeah.
And I mean, is it allowed to say black?
Sure, absolutely, absolutely.
I'm not afraid, but I was just thinking now, like, what's
black,
But this black versus police.
Yeah.
Was that something you felt like when you were?
There were some incidences where I saw police officers get out of line. Just in general, not due to race, but they would step out of line and kind of go over the edge. That happened. I don't want to say a lot, but it happened a significant amount of times. And then I also saw officers. I actually had to report another officer. This guy had the nerve, he had the balls to say something. He referred to a group of suspects, a group of black suspects, in a very racist way. He used some racist terminology.
All right.
To me, and it was just like, whoa, I can't let this go. And I even tried to approach the guy, and he stood by what he said, so I had to take it further. So yeah, that kind of thing has been in the police environment in the United States since day one, probably.
Yeah.
But what I think the problem is now, there's two things. I don't know whether it's happening more and more often now. I don't know. But I do know that because everyone has a cell phone, we are actually seeing more of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the actual rise in the occurrences of police brutality and racism in the police, but people are recording it more. So there's that. And then also, when we have a president who, he sends out these dog whistles to racists all the time. I don't care whether someone supports Donald Trump or not. There's something wrong with you if you try to deny that he baits and dog whistles that racist right-wing element. If you deny that, there's something wrong with you. You're either lying or there's something wrong with you. So I think when we have a president who does that as often as he does, and you put on top of that, there was an FBI report from 2016, I believe it was, where the FBI says from their investigations, there is an alarming number of racist, right-wing, hate group people who are actually infiltrating the police, becoming police officers themselves. So when that is happening, when racists are coming in and getting hired by police departments and the president is kind of giving them the thumbs up on their racism and their brutality, that's a problem. That's a big problem that cannot be denied. So the question becomes then, what do we do about it? I'm not in any kind of position of power, but I do have my platform. So when when good guests like you ask me these questions, I give a straightforward answer. I do episodes like I did on the one that went viral, and I talk about these things. And I catch a lot of heat for it. I've actually lost some friends because I speak openly about this, but maybe they weren't the right kind of friend to start with.
No, hopefully they see the truth at some point,
So there's definitely some problems in the police, and I don't think it helps to say, because this is a fact, most police in the United States are good people, good men and women, doing a good job. But I don't think it helps to say that, because the damage that those handful of bad cops do, that damage is so great. It affects so many people in such a profound way. It doesn't help to say that most police are good police. It doesn't help at all.
No.
We have to deal with that bad element. And I don't know. It remains to be seen how that's going to be dealt with.
Yeah. I mean, and now it's difficult to to understand, how it is. But I mean, for a young black guy or what have you. I mean, when you time after time are being accused for doing something that you didn't do, it creates this tense situation.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So because every time you're just walking down the street, the police comes and you think, I don't want to be, I don't want him to stop me. So
yeah, they've done studies on that, and that is a form of community post-traumatic stress syndrome. The whole community is suffering from a type of post-traumatic stress syndrome because they and their family and all of their friends and everyone they know, time after time after time after time, have had these unfair negative experiences with the police. I don't know. And who was it? I think it was D.L. Hughley, another great American comic. If you've never checked him out, you should check him out. Yeah. He said that when you hear white people say, but all the cops that I know are good people, they're probably right. because they live in a neighborhood or in a city or town that recruits a certain type of police officer.
Yes, exactly. Right? Yeah.
And there's a different kind of police officer or a different kind of police force for these other neighborhoods that are poor, black or brown neighborhoods. And it's a different type of policing that's being done there. So the people that live in these more affluent neighborhoods, these white people, need to show more. And it's happening. There's more and more white people showing sympathy, empathy, and becoming allies. But we need more of that.
Yeah. Because I read also about, in poor neighborhoods and stuff, even though you're a good guy, the police, if they want you in their system, they might try to tax you for something or something like that, and they know that you won't be able to maybe pay that tax or something.
Yeah.
So then suddenly you're in the system because
I can't remember the gentleman's name. There was a guy from New York. Was it somewhere in Brooklyn? Yeah, I don't know. A black guy in New York City got arrested for stealing. They said he stole like a backpack or something like that. He got put on Rikers Island, and he was there for years waiting for a trial. He ended up committing suicide.
Yeah,
and then and then it came out afterwards that they got the wrong guy. He never stole anything.
Yeah.
So see that happens a lot. It happens mostly to black and brown people, and it is coloring. Forgive the pun, but it is coloring. See, that's the kind of stand-up stuff I do too. But it is literally coloring their life. It is such a big part of their life. They can't ignore that relationship that they have with the police if they know that at the drop of a hat they can be arrested for something they didn't do and be locked up for years.
And when that happens, I mean, obviously you have like this sort of feeling of being worthless, and it just multiplies every time someone just, does that to you or to someone you know.
Well, I was just going to say, it's also to someone you know. You could be a 5 or 6 year old boy and you've seen this happen to your father. What is that going to do to that 5 or 6 year old boy? And maybe they didn't just see it happen to their father, but maybe it happened several times to their father or to their uncles or their grandfather. And it becomes a family thing. It becomes a family trauma that several generations have to deal with. And that's not being taken into consideration when you have people who say, oh, well, if you act right, you'll be fine. That doesn't really fit. That's not the truth.
That's true. Yeah. And as you say, if you're a bit older, I read this story. It was Ice-T, the rapper.
Yeah.
He told a story that his mother, her sewing machine, was stolen or something. So she called the police. And when the police came, they kind of started to, questioning Ice-T and the boys that were standing outside, even though the mother tried to say, no, that's my son. That's not why you are here. The police are just like, drawing their guns and stuff and like saying, get in the house. And
that's crazy.
I mean, it's an unnecessary situation. I mean,
it is. It's very unnecessary. And I think it just boils down to compassion. If you care about other people, you can't sit quietly by and watch this happen.
No.
That's why I don't understand the people who want to go online and argue against these facts. They want to say that it's not, they want to just erase my experience as a black man. They want to erase the black experience and just, we're all wrong. We are all exaggerating, or we just want a handout.
Yeah. And I guess it's kind of, stereotypical, but it's a complex thing.
It
also,
is.
and it happens. So it's, I don't know. It's difficult. I mean, if you're a young black guy, you grow up in a poor neighborhood. I mean, you are going to be afraid of the police, you know.
Yeah, again, yeah, it's a community. It's a plague in those communities where, because that's all that they've seen generation after generation. So
yeah, as you said, you know, maybe something happened to your father, you know, as you said, and then your neighbor, and then and then you just look around and you just see, you know, buildings that are not taken care of. Why should you care? Why should you not try to, you know, sell drugs maybe, or just do some shortcuts? Because no one cares anyways. And the police, they're after you anyways. So
that sums it up. That sums it up. You know, and it's not that bad here in Norway. It's not even close to being that bad here in Norway, but there is a debate. There is a discussion that needs to be had here in Norway, and it's not being had. And I you know, a shout out to Kim Fairchild for giving me that challenge and telling me to continue speaking out and continue with making appearances on the news and things like that. And I think I'm going to do that.
Yeah, but you should. But it's so, because that's the only way I'm like trying to, not the only way, but it's part of the understanding of the thing. It's just to see, you know, when you're that deep in the situation, then how could you like have a real view of what's right and wrong?
The conversation needs to be had. It needs to be an open debate. It's a little strange that debate's not being had. It's funny because I see a lot of people on the political right here in Norway talking about how they don't want things to get like they are in the United States when it comes to race relations, or even closer to home. We don't want things to be like they are in Malmö in Sweden, right? They say that all the time. And it's like, I get that fear, but if you truly don't want that to happen, then you have to start having a dialogue on that subject. And nobody is having that. There's not one person who is visible in the daily news here in Norway who is talking about that. Not one person.
That's I mean that's also part of the problem. Big part of the problem.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's life. Life in Norway.
Life in Norway. We are having a good time because we are not seeing the problems, you know. We don't want to see. We don't want to deal with anything. We just pretend everything's fine.
That is very Norwegian. You know, if there's one thing that scares me about living here in Norway, it is that Norwegian reluctance to have a dialogue about the things that are important. That it's not an issue yet, but it's going to be an issue. It's going to be a problem in Norway eventually. Because the world is changing. The world is changing. Norway is changing too.
But so much has happened. I see memes and stuff online now, just from February. Like, so much stuff. And I also read about what you said with Trump and, you know, white supremacists and you know, it's that's a part of it as well. And so much. So much stuff.
So what's your plans on this weekend? Are you going on stage anywhere tonight?
Not tonight. Next time I'm going on stage is in Stavanger.
Oh, really? Traveling man. Yeah.
Traveling man. And if I had known that you know, when I booked the tickets, it was allowed to, you know, travel and all. Now it's still allowed, but now they say you shouldn't go if you don't have to.
Oh, dilemma.
So I'm just saying. Now I am going to go. I am going to do stand up, but I'm just saying that to clean my name, you know.
I see.
I did it in good faith, you know.
I see what you're doing here. Now, are you? So you're flying down to Stavanger?
Yes. So I'm gonna wear my mask and everything. You know?
Would you consider driving? Would you feel safer if you drove down there?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Actually,
no.
No, I think with masks and everything, I think the plane is safe. And And it's a shorter ride in a sense.
That's true. How big is the venue where you're going to be performing? Do you know?
I think it's quite big actually.
Okay.
But I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah.
But I know they have a lot of good names there, and it's gonna be a good night. Yeah. Hopefully.
Now, who does your booking? Do you do your own booking? Do you get these
Yes.
gigs yourself? Okay, good.
Like last night when I was drunk, you know, I get confidence, so to send messages to everyone.
Yeah.
So that's what I do.
There you go.
And then I see the day after that it was okay. I wasn't out of line, you know. But that's how you get gigs. If you have to step somewhat out of the crowd, you can't just say like yeah. I mean, I send out regular bookings as well. You know, like please can I or what do I do to do some stand up here?
Yeah.
But yesterday I was a bit more creative, you know. But it pays off.
Well, that's good. You know, the gigs are not going to be handed to you. You know.
No.
I think well, not just comics, but musicians. You know, whatever. If you're an entertainer, you know, take that responsibility to go out there and find the gigs. I wonder if you know, there's some musicians out there who have like a manager or a booking agency, but I wonder if they're missing out on something by not trying to get those gigs themselves.
Yeah, because you have to make the connections, talk to people, you know?
Yeah.
And I actually, that was before I got drunk. I sent a message to Joachim Eikeri.
Okay, yeah.
Talked about him. And he texted me back and said, Joachim, I'm going to tell you when you can do stand-up in Drammen. And I'm telling you now, are you ready for 4th of November? So that was the answer. So I'm going to be at the Union in November, 4th of November.
I think I'm doing that night as well, or I'm scheduled to do that night. Now,
yeah, I hope.
I've had to back out of the last three bookings that I had.
Why?
Or not bookings, but opportunities. Man, I tell you, it's this shoulder.
Oh, yeah.
I am in so much pain from that last surgery. I just, it's hard to describe, but it is so painful. I don't know if you can see me in the picture, but I have this table to my left, and I have to rest my arm.
Oh yeah, okay.
You know, so to stand even for 5 or 10 minutes, just standing and having my arm hanging down and putting that pressure on my shoulder is just. It's too much. And the pain is so much in my head, it makes it hard for me to
I see.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah. But do you need another surgery for the shoulder? Or?
We don't know at the moment. I've had so many surgeries, and there's so many of these little, they put these like metal, like anchoring things in there. Just about every surgery I've had, they've added 1 or 2 of those. So I have a bunch of these anchors pounded into my bone up in there. And we are wondering if that is causing some trouble. So maybe all of those anchorings have to be removed. And that's going to be another serious, not just like a simple surgery. This is going to be serious. So
that's not with that little light and knife. They have
no,
to
this will be
real open.
Yeah. Drilling and all kinds of stuff like that. So, but we don't know yet. I might have to do that. We're going to keep going through the physical therapy that I'm doing now and the follow-up I'm getting from the surgeon. We're going to keep doing this for a little while longer and see if there's any results. But I tell you, man, it's really putting the brakes on my plans when it comes to stand-up and music as well.
Yeah, because you can't really play the guitar either.
Yeah, I got called in to, I have to give a shout out to Raymond Olsen, who called me in for a studio session. He's coming with a solo project, and he wanted me to play bass on it. And cool. So I did that, and I liked it because it was a very short process. We practiced on the song twice, and then we went right into the studio. I love that's the way I like it. But
it's
just
fresh.
but just those 2 days, maybe an hour and a half, each time we practice, and maybe an hour and a half in the studio, just that. And my shoulder has been on fire because of it. It's just, it's a physical process to sit there and play an instrument. So that's how bad I am. I mean, it's just putting the brakes on everything, man.
Yeah. And you are a guitar player, You're not as strong as the bass players.
Says the bassist himself.
Yes, that's the bassist.
Well, I play all the instruments on my own material, so I can play the bass, but I never thought of myself as a bassist. So it was quite the honor to get called in to do that session.
Yeah. That was what I was thinking as well. That's cool that you can, go to other projects and do different instruments.
Yeah, it was very cool. Very cool.
It's a boost for your everything.
Absolutely.
Really.
Well, it was good to be able to, because I am at heart an artist, whether we're talking about writing, whether we're talking about stand-up, or whether we're talking about music. That's what I want to do. I want to do my art. And because of COVID, because of the shoulder surgery, everything has just been suppressed. I have not been as active as I have wanted to for the last 3 years.
Because I wanted to ask you actually.
Yeah.
You're 50 years old now.
51.
No? 51. Yeah.
I'm so pretty. Look at that.
Yeah,
51.
Yeah. You don't look like 51. Yeah, pretty and all. Yes. But yeah, because I wanted to ask you, so do you have any advice for me as a young man, but you kind of gave me some advice now in the previous, you have just because about being an artist at heart, that's what I'm thinking as well. That now I like stand-up, that's what I do, but I'm keeping every opportunity alive, sort of.
And I think that's what is important. You cannot let opportunities pass you by. But not only that, you have to actively create opportunities for yourself. That's kind of what I was getting at about, a lot of people will rely on a booking agency or a manager to find their opportunities for them. And that's fine. But nobody knows nobody knows your vision except for you. Yeah. You can try and relate what you want. You can try and relate that to someone else, but they don't really get it. You know what you want. So you take up that challenge and make it happen for yourself. It's going to give you a different sense of self-worth. It's going to give you a different sense of security within your art if you go out and create those opportunities for yourself. That would be my greatest advice is never underestimate your talent. And when you know how talented you are and when you know what your vision is, you do everything you can to make it happen. And it looks like that's exactly what you're doing. Yeah.
And then, if you do that as well, then you kind of burn more for,
Yes.
Because when I was booking yesterday, drunk and not drunk, but then for example, I saw this place in Fredrikstad.
Yeah.
And I felt, okay, I can combine that with something else, So it made me wanna, so it's going to be a road trip kind of. I can do this and that, and I can do stand-up.
Yeah.
Let's go. And then
there you go.
You try to book it. And then you make stuff happen.
Not in that instance, not only are you doing something to further your art, but you are also engaging yourself in the structure of your own life. This is an opportunity for the road trip, for the experience. If you take somebody with you, maybe it's a chance to bond with a friend or whatever.
Exactly.
So it becomes more than just the business side of being a stand-up comic. You are actually actively contributing to the enjoyment of your own life.
Yeah, and actually, I've been doing that as well. With a couple of weeks ago, I booked a place where I said, but could you book me and this guy? For example,
yes.
and then we went together, and he did that for me another time,
See, and that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. That's what I like to see in the Norwegian stand-up community. More of that. More of this sense of brotherhood and sisterhood, of pulling up others with you on your journey. And all it's going to do is benefit everyone you touch, and it will come back around to you. It's more of that community feeling.
And what I like as well is this guy, he's called Magnus. You met him, I think, tall guy. I like him very much. I like his stand-up. I think he's great. But one time he bombed on stage really bad. I wasn't there. But what he did was the genius thing.
Yeah.
Because on his way home, instead of, being bummed out about that, he gave me a call to say what happened, and then it turned into a fun conversation, instead of him being, sad or what have you. So that's what I do as well. If I have a bad night, I call him, for example, and then we just make some jokes about it instead of sit there just being miserable, really, because that's what could happen.
Because it can be a very personal, you feel like the audience is doing something to you personally. It's like, why aren't you laughing at this? This is terrible. You guys are so mean to me. And that can really go in and start eating away at your confidence. And you just get this feel. It's almost like you broke up with your girlfriend when you were 16 years old, that feeling of rejection.
Yes.
It's so easy to feel as a stand-up comic. That's happened to me once, where I really felt bad and depressed after bombing. But so far, for the most part, I laugh at it, and then I go back and listen to it and turn it into something good. But that you bring in a fellow comic like you do to go through it and to talk about it and to make that bad feeling go away, man, that's genius right there. That's what's going to give you longevity. That's what's going to make you still be active and not bitter when in stand-up.
Yeah, because you make everything into a learning experience.
Everything.
You make everything into something good.
Yes.
And if I bombed, but I can talk about it now on a podcast, and I can laugh about it. I lived and I learned. And also what I've been doing the last times before going on stage, instead of thinking that, I hope they like me, I hope blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I have a new mental approach now. And I know you probably have this from before because you're good that way, But now, instead of thinking that, I'm thinking that I'm looking forward to go on stage, but I'm thinking, I can't wait to give them a real show.
Yes.
Kind of,
Yeah.
Saying I don't care now if there are 5 people, 100 people. I prefer 100 people. Then say those 5 are in for a treat. That's what's going to happen now.
There you go.
Then we go.
Yeah.
So I'm picturing myself as a real stand-up comedian.
And there's the difference. There's the difference. That's the difference that I see in you from when I first met you up until now.
Because then, you're thinking like, I hope, I cross my fingers, I hope they laugh. No, it's not that way anymore.
No.
I know that if I do this and that, they will laugh. And if they don't, well, I don't care.
Well, and there's the confidence. I just love seeing that kind of confidence, and I love seeing that kind of growth in an artist, and you have exemplified that. I've seen it. You're a different stand-up now than you were, and I hear that just in the way you talk about stand-up now, that you're different than what you were when I first met you.
Yeah, and these conversations and everything, we learn a lot all the time.
Oh, absolutely. I love talking with other stand-ups like this, because you have insight, I have insight, we share ideas, It's a learning process. Just like every set is a learning process. Every conversation I have with another comic is a learning process.
And also, I've just thought of when you told me about, seize every opportunity and stuff. Because I thought of this the other day that, people, they want a time machine, right? People talk about that. But I was thinking all of a sudden that I don't need a time machine, because I am the best me now.
There you go.
That's what I was thinking. And, I will this is how I'm thinking all the time. I will convince, myself every day that I am, it may not be true maybe, but, and some opportunities are in fact, water under the bridge or what have you. But I will convince myself that I can do anything.
Yeah. Well, and it's that type of fearlessness, and that's not arrogance either. That's not being arrogant. No. That's confidence. That's wanting to excel in your form of art. That's what that is. And it's
and I think the bottom line is it may not be true, and I know that, but I just have to convince myself that it is.
Yeah.
Just for a short moment of time.
Yeah.
It may not be true, but it has to be. Right before you step on that stage, convince myself I'm the best stand-up.
There you go, yeah.
And that's how it's going to be for the next 10 minutes.
And that
may not be true. But
that's the confidence and the fearlessness you have to have. Absolutely. I was laughing. You were talking about a time machine just yesterday. We have I've bought a whole bunch of powerlifting equipment, and we got the last piece of equipment here at home. And the whole family was out in the garage setting it up yesterday. And I don't want to hang my kids out there, but they're just not, sometimes they're not the best workers. They lose focus and all this stuff. So I looked at my wife, because I don't want to yell at the kids. So I try to be funny. So I look at my wife and I said, I wish I had a time machine, because I would put these kids in there and set the time for 1830, 1840, send them back to Mississippi for a week, and then bring them back. And I guarantee you they will be better workers. And she kind of stopped, and she didn't really get it. Sending them to Mississippi in 1840, 2 little black kids, slavery, they'll learn how to work. So I think I was thinking yesterday, because even though I haven't done much stand-up recently, I am constantly writing and coming up with ideas. And that concept, that idea right there of a time machine to send these 2 kids who don't know how to work, send them back. I'm going to see if I can work it. I'm going to work it.
Good joke. It's a good joke.
Those poor kids. They got it though. My kids are used to. Our daughter is almost 14, and almost 15, and our son is almost 13. So they've been hearing me say these kind of things ever since they were babies. So they got it right away, and it just adds to the humor of the moment, because my wife is always a couple of steps behind understanding the joke. She just doesn't get it.
Yeah, but it's true, because if I when I have the kids around as well, I haven't been doing stand-up that much for that long, but if there's a stand-up gig coming up, I'm practicing, right?
Oh yeah.
So the kids are they're just used to me going around talking to myself. And sometimes I'm probably just talking to myself, but I can just say, no, I'm just practicing.
I practice a lot of my stuff on my kids and on my wife. I do. And I've always figured it out, and so far this is true. If my wife laughs at a bit that I do, it always hits hard with the crowd, because my wife just doesn't laugh that much at things. So if she does laugh at it, then I know it's a good thing, and then it's going to go into the routine. Yeah.
But actually, I just thought of something that I did yesterday that was funny when I was drunk again.
Again.
I actually made, because I saw an email popping up now with a confirmation, and I just remembered I made some merchandise. Not to sell to, fans or what have you, but I made some sweaters to wear on stage.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I just remembered.
Is it like is it like a logo or something?
Yeah. What I did was, because I was talking, I've been talking to this to this girl. She's called Yrja Oftedal. I don't know if you know who she is. She has a podcast called Power Ladies.
And I've heard of that podcast, yeah.
Yeah, and she does a lot of great stuff, and I really think she's just fantastic, really. So I was talking to her yesterday, and she said she is going to give me, a theme or something important, something I can respectfully, you know, make a joke out of.
Okay.
You know, as we are talking about, you know, draw attention to something
sure
important, you know. So just see what that will be. But I wanted to, you know, pay her some respect. So one of the T-shirts just says Yrja Oftedal approves. That's just one of them.
Yes.
Because she has a voice, you know, and she's doing great stuff. And my stand-up, as I told her as well, is now harsh. It's you know, it's on the edge and everything. So it's gonna clash a bit that my T-shirt says that it's gonna be a joke in itself because she's all about women's right and everything, and so am I. Yeah. But you know, I'm joking about it, so I just have to see if I can.
I should check out her podcast. I've heard of that podcast.
Yeah. I only I listen to it once in a while, and I always enjoy it. So I think it was really cool of her to like talk to me. You know, no, because I know she's busy and everything, but so. But I was drunk, so I had, you know, the confidence.
Who is the most famous celebrity or most influential person that you've ever had the opportunity to spend time with?
Oh, that's a difficult question. Who could that be? Have you heard of this film, The Room?
Yes.
Yeah, Tommy Wiseau. Yeah. He had a showing of that film when I was studying back in the UK at Prince Charles Cinema. So he was there, and I got to talk to him for quite a bit. And I actually told him that out of all the celebrities in the world, I think it's you are the most fun meeting.
Cool.
No, but we talked, and he's a character, but he's I think he's a good guy. I don't know, but
he gave you a good.
I have to think about that because famous people. What about you?
Oh wow. Well, most recently on my podcast, there's a couple of people. I had Ralph Molina, the drummer from Neil Young's band Crazy Horse.
Yeah, and I also saw that you had the guy from Tiger King.
Yeah.
But talk about the drummer first.
Well, just having him on, because if I go back to 2017, 16 or 17, I was on a album project where I had written a country album for a Norwegian friend of mine, an artist here. And he had sent one of those song demos to a producer named Elliot Mazer. He is the producer for a lot of Neil Young's albums, among them his Harvest album, things like that. He produced Janis Joplin, Linda Ronstadt, people like that. Elliot Mazer is a very important producer. So he liked the demo that was sent, so he came to Norway.
Nice.
To produce that album, and I got to work with him for, what was he here for, like 10 days or something like that, and to get to hang out with that guy, the producer for one of my favorite artists. And
that's insane. Yeah,
we did one night of recording out in Spydeberg at a studio out there. So that was like, and this was in the wintertime, so the roads were kind of bad. So I had like a 2-hour long drive from the studio back to Drammen. Alone in the car with Elliot Mazer.
Oh, that's.
I'll never forget it. I'll never forget that.
But were you a bit nervous as well?
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Because he was so normal. You know what I mean? So anyway, so when I met Elliot, you know, that kind of introduced me into that Neil Young world, and through him, all of a sudden I got a message from Ralph Molina, something to the effect of "Welcome to the family." So this is back in 2016, 2017. So we've been chatting back and forth for 3 or 4 years now. And then all of a sudden it just landed in my head. Hey, dummy, you know, you're friends with Ralph. Ask him to be on the podcast. So I did. And I was very honored that he said yes, because he doesn't do media things like that. you cannot find an interview of Ralph Molina.
And he did the podcast.
And he did my podcast.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
So God bless that guy. He is the kindest, sweetest. He has to be the kindest celebrity that I have ever met. He's so warm and down to earth. And shout out to Ralph Molina if he's listening. I love that guy. So I would say Elliot Mazer, Ralph Molina, Rick from the Tiger King, Eddie Kramer. Here's another producer. What? Eddie Kramer, Jimi Hendrix's producer. He produced Kiss. He produced Led Zeppelin, or was an engineer for Led Zeppelin. Eddie Kramer engineered all of the sound at the Woodstock Festival in '69. I had, now this is going back to maybe 2004 or 5, if I remember right. There was a song contest here in Drammen because Eddie Kramer had discovered, so to speak, some Norwegian metal band called Hangface. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
No, I don't think so.
They're actually pretty popular in the States, in California right now, but this was, they were just getting started. Eddie Kramer had produced and recorded and financed their first album. So Hangface was going to have a release concert in Oslo at Gamle. Gamle in Oslo.
Oh yeah.
And in combination with that, they had a music or like a songwriting contest where you could write a song, send it in to Eddie Kramer, and then he would choose which band or artist would be the opening act for Hangface at their release party. So it was very funny because Hangface was this metal band and Eddie Kramer is known for, classic rock. So what do? I submit it's like an R&B soul type of song. I submitted that song, and of course it didn't win, but it led to, because I had the guts to do that, I actually was asked to perform for the after party.
Oh, fantastic. For
Eddie Kramer's record company, and this was down in what's it called? Down by Kristiansand, Lillesand. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
At this beautiful mansion right on the coast. And me and my band went down there and played for hours for the entire afternoon and half of the night for Eddie Kramer's people in his record company. There's maybe 300 people partying and listening to our music out there.
That's amazing. Yeah.
But let me go back though. Before that, now at the actual release party, of course, my song didn't get selected, and I hadn't even been asked to do the after party yet. Now, my wife was about 7 or 8 months pregnant with our first child, so her belly was out, out to here. And Eddie Kramer was there in the crowd, and of course, everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, look at him! That's Eddie Kramer! This legend." So my wife knew how much I respected all the work that Eddie Kramer has done. So she goes through this crazy crowd of heavy metal fans with her belly sticking out in front of her and literally grabbed Eddie Kramer by the arm and dragged him back to me and says, "Here, you need to talk to my husband." Eddie Kramer stood there with me at Gamle in Oslo, and we talked for about 15 minutes straight about music.
Nice.
And it was that conversation with him, plus the craziness of my song being submitted like that he asked me and my band to do the after party.
That's so that was creating opportunities, seizing opportunities.
Yeah. So that was very cool to meet Eddie Kramer. But I don't know. I guess Eddie Kramer. No, I think the coolest celebrity I've met is probably Ralph Molina, because I consider him a friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was also very kind to me when I lost my son. Ralph had some very kind words. I consider Ralph a friend. I'd say Ralph is the coolest celebrity I've ever met.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah. I have to meet some celebrities, I think.
But not all of them are cool. Some of them are jerks. When you meet those heroes, and then you find out that they're not the person you thought they were.
I don't want to do that. And they could have a bad day as well.
Sure. And that's allowed. That's allowed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, listen, man, we've been talking for an hour and a half. I'm sure you need to get up and put on a shirt and do something productive today.
I'm actually going to go and work out because, this other stand-up comedian that's called Peter Adams.
Yeah.
We spoke about him before.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
No, he wants to be an MMA fighter as well.
Aha.
So I'm training him, or you could say training with him. So I'm gonna go and kick his ass. But now I'm cramped up in my legs, so I can't get up.
Well, there's no better way to solidify a good friendship than by whooping his ass.
Yeah. I wrote to him that I'm feeling like Jeffrey Dahmer, is it? So I'm gonna kill him and eat him for breakfast.
There you go. That's good protein there. That's good protein. Yeah. Well, listen, Joachim, yet again, I appreciate the conversation. I'm so glad to have you on my podcast episode. I love talking about stand-up with you. You're probably the easiest person to talk stand-up with that I know of all of the Norwegian comics. So I really enjoy it.
Yeah. So, yeah. Thank you, brother. Is it?
Thank you, brother. Yeah. Thank you, brother.
Hopefully I see you on the 4th of November.
Yeah, I'm going to be talking with Jon Jarde, and I just have to kind of feel my way through it. So it may be that I have to cancel at the last minute, but my intention is to get up there. It's been too long since I've done stand-up.
Yeah, you should get out there.
Yeah.
It would be good to see you too, So.
Likewise. Yeah. All right, my friend, take care of yourself. Have a wonderful day, and we'll talk again soon.
We will.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, Joachim. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, everybody. That's Joachim Eikeri. Bye, everybody. Thank you and goodbye.